What's
Beyonce
going
is
on?
losing hundreds of thousands, millions of followers every day. And she still hasn't said anything. Just pretending like life is great in Paris.
Is it her place to say something?
I mean, probably not, considering she's gonna be indicted for anything she would say. These are criminals. Diddy is a dealer, and so is Jay-Z. The proof is there.
Aubrey O'Day is back to exposing Diddy again, and this time, she's coming for Beyonce for her alleged involvement in these freak parties along with Jay-Z. Aubrey has been around Diddy all the way back to his Making the Band days, and word on the street is he tried to her out too. So if anyone knows about the people who were helping him out, it would be her. In fact, it was rumored that she was going to testify, but she later came out to confirm that she wasn't. But baby, that doesn't mean she's keeping her mouth closed. She is still on the internet talking, and the latest person she exposed was Beyonce. Beyonce has already been on fire for a while now for allegedly getting her back blown by Diddy and covering up his crimes along with Jay. But the last thing we thought was for Aubrey O'Day, of all people, to also step in the chat and expose her. Yeah, when I tell you this Diddy case keeps on giving, I'm not even playing. Now, as I said, Aubrey has been on Diddy's neck from the very start of her days in the popular girl group Danity Kane, which was signed to Diddy's fraudulent record label, Bad Boy Entertainment. The group was made up of 5 girls: Andrea Fimbres, Dee Woods, Shannon Bex, Dawn Richards, and Aubrey O'Day. And word on the street is he was trying to them behind the scenes. At the time, the girls were happy to get signed, especially to someone as big as Diddy, because they actually thought he was gonna make their careers big, but it didn't take long for them to realize none of that was gonna happen. What really got people was the fact that even though Diddy was mistreating all the girls and sometimes even embarrassing them on national television, Aubrey was the only one brave enough to stand up to him.
What do you want to look like though? What do you want to look like though?
I'll tell you. I'm not focused on me. I'm focused on what this group should look like and how I should fit in this situation.
You like big hair though.
I don't like big hair.
You do like big hair. You like big hair. You like a lot of makeup and all that.
Actually, I don't. I don't like big hair. I don't like certain makeup. I'm very flexible with what you want to do. And I've worked with everything that you've thrown at me, curly, whatever. I'm not here in a group to have curly, straight, big, makeup, whatever. I'm here in a group to sing with my group. And that is all I care about. For real, like maybe you just don't get me and we don't.
Aubrey said Diddy was intentionally pitting them against each other to cause misunderstandings in the group so he could have better control over them. If he was able to break them apart, then it would be easier for him to control them and have them see each other as competition instead of as a team.
The stories that we have to tell during a time in music where there were gatekeepers, there were people that owned labels like Puff running things, and the way that the divisions and the divisiveness occurred and the things that we experienced between each other and us against the system are insane.
Aubrey said Diddy would body shame them by saying nasty things about their bodies every time they would gain a little weight or switch up their hairstyle, a little bit like a normal human being. He treated them like his personal dolls and controlled every aspect of their life. And of course, the only one who had the guts to stand up to him was Aubrey.
It's everything you could imagine why somebody would want to fire somebody. I wasn't willing to do what was expected of me. Not talent-wise, but in other areas. So it's difficult when you're that young to understand your worth as a woman through the men that I was around, and that was very traumatic. I don't think any of us have healed from that. Diddy would be like, you're not hot anymore, like what happened? You don't have anything, like you don't have any curves. You're looking like you're not looking like, I can't get people to think that you're my good looking person. And there was no Me Too at that time. There was no protecting anyone at that time. You signed a million NDAs and a million contracts that took away all your rights. So
Aubrey said Diddy would also try to convince the girls into freak off activities against their will and would brutally, verbally, and psychologically mistreat them when they rejected his freak off advances. In fact, Diddy's former bodyguard, Gene Dill, said he overheard Diddy talking about how he was going to the girls and put them out to his guys to have their way with them.
Because I heard him, and I'm giving you this, Aubrey. He stood up there and he said in front of a lot of people, we were in the studio, and I said something to him and walked out the studio. He said, yo, I'm going to get off and pick them up and come out to my, he said, I'm going to them out. I'm going to get them all on, and I'm going to pick them to my, and I was like, there's somebody kids, and walked out. And it's somebody that heard me. It's somebody that heard me. I mean, well, it's not only somebody that heard me, it's somebody that I know who was in the studio at the time that happened, and I still talk to him today. And we were just talking about that the other day. He done moved back to Indiana. I don't know why. I'm gonna give you that one. He said he was gonna them all out and them out.
Child, anyway, you better buckle up because it gets even crazier from here. Apparently, Diddy tried to get ahead of Cassie's lawsuits by sending out NDAs to his old artists, including Danity Kane, for them to sign in exchange for the publishing rights to their music, which he has kept to himself for decades and made millions out of. But Aubrey, being the smart one of the bunch, convinced the other girls not to sign it because, frankly speaking, they didn't need those public rights anymore. No one barely streams or buys those songs anymore, so they would barely make any money from it anyway. Diddy knew Cassie's lawsuit was going to make more victims come out, and he tried to get ahead of it by shoving NDAs down their throats. Fortunately, Aubrey knew something major was going to happen for him to be suddenly rushing them to sign NDAs, so she told the girls not to sign it and to wait to see if anything comes up.
I have to release him for any claims or wrongdoings or actions prior to the date of the release. I have to sign an NDA that I will never disparage Puff, Bad Boy, Janice Combs, or Justin Combs' music, or EMI, or Sony ever in public.
So that you just got recently for this thing?
I got it a few months ago when he started doing
what's in the news now?
So what's happening is artists, some of them, not all of them, are being given streaming royalties and ownership back over our publishing on songs that we wrote at a time when you know that you have to stream a song 1 million times to make a cent.
Yeah.
Okay? It's hundreds of dollars. And me, as somebody that's a girl's girl, I hit everyone in my group and said, absolutely do not take this deal. I can get us a show on Hulu right now.
Diddy's ex-bodyguard, Gene Deal, confirmed this as well when he said the Danity Kane girls were actually the ones who didn't sign the NDA. Everyone else signed it, but as a result of Aubrey clocking that something fishy was going on, the girls held back and didn't sign.
But did Diddy make his artists sign NDAs and people that work for him?
Well, a lot of these rappers, a lot of these industry people, anybody who does business nowadays with the internet, they have NDAs, non-disclosure. That means that if you work for them, you around them, you can't disclose any of the information about them. It's the same thing that he gave to all his artists when he gave them their publishing back. I'm gonna give y'all publishing, but y'all can't talk about Janice Combs, Justin Combs, Sony, Bad Boy, or anything that happened. Y'all can't talk about none of that. But there's some artists that didn't say anything, that didn't sign it, and they able to talk about anything they want to. And I think that's those girls that was, I think Danity Kane. I think a couple of them didn't sign it. And boy, oh boy, they probably gonna go after him too.
And do y'all remember the time that Diddy put up that ridiculous apology video after the footage of him physically attacking Cassie at a hotel got leaked? Aubrey was one of the first people to call him out on that fake apology, and she went in on him. She posted a statement that Diddy had made a few months ago, basically calling Cassie a liar. And she said Diddy did not apologize to Cassie. He apologized to the world for seeing what he did. He said he's disgusted with himself now, and he was disgusted with himself then. But apparently he wasn't disgusted enough with himself to not put this statement out calling her a liar and denying all of it. Leave God and Mercy out of this. They aren't present here and you know it. But Aubrey isn't done, y'all, because word on the street is she is now coming for Beyonce, and she isn't playing with her at all. Now, when it comes to Beyonce and Diddy, there have been a lot of speculations, but Aubrey was the last person anyone expected to also speak on it. In fact, the same MTV show making the band that Diddy discovered Aubrey and her group members, there was another group called The Band, and they also went through a lot of mistreatment. But this time, it wasn't for Diddy, it was for Beyonce. One of the members, Freddie P, revealed back in the day when Diddy made them walk all the way to downtown to get him a cheesecake from the cheese factory. It actually wasn't for Diddy, it was for Beyonce, and she's the one who told Diddy to make them walk instead of using a car. It's unclear the exact part of New York they were in at the time, but the trip to downtown by foot was 4 hours long, and he made them walk there to get him a cheesecake. This was one of the first signs that Diddy was not right in the head, but folks were too unconcerned to call out his behavior. In fact, they found it funny and said he was doing all that to build his artists because the industry isn't for the weak. During a recent interview, Freddie P finally revealed who the cheesecake was for, and it turns out it was for Beyonce. This whole time we thought Diddy punished these boys for his own satisfaction, when it was really at the request of Beyonce. Apparently, Beyonce was the one who told Diddy that she wanted cheesecake, but instead of her making someone from her team go get it for her, she allowed Diddy to make the members of the band walk for hours to get it and humiliate them on national television.
Okay, fun fact a lot of people don't know, that cheesecake we went and got was for Beyonce. She was upstairs the whole time. What we was talking about again? Hold on. Yeah, that's a fun fact people don't know. People like, y'all walked and got a cheesecake. It was for Beyonce. I'm the type of nigga. I listen to everything you say as if it's a contract. So if you say, walk to the store, or walk to get me some cheesecake, I'll walk to get you some cheesecake, but I'm not walking back. And that's just what me and Darlon did. And they like, why y'all, you know, they hot. Like, y'all cheating. And we like, he told us to walk. He ain't tell us to walk back. So we already in the hotel like 3 hours before they got there. When they said they was coming, we went and met him in front of the building. And you know the first thing that nigga said out of his mouth? He said, we got the cheesecake. He was like, I don't want that shit. Take that shit upstairs for Beyonce. Then he said, they was like, yeah, man, we want to tell you, Fred and Darlon, they ain't walk back. You know, trying to be on some snitching shit. He was like, I ain't tell you niggas to walk back.
At the time Freddie revealed this, people were really surprised that the diddler was going this far for Beyonce. That was until a video of the baby went viral of him exposing the time he met Beyonce and Jay during a private party at Diddy's house. He said Diddy kicked everyone out of the room, leaving only him, Beyonce, Jay, and Diddy in the room. Once it was just them, he claims Beyonce started talking to him a lot. And she even introduced herself to him like, girl, you are literally Beyonce. Of course that man knows who you are. Like, stop playing. According to Jaguar Wright, this was a freak-off meeting, and Beyonce was trying to seduce the baby into giving her some of that hood D, because Jay was clearly not putting it down since he's getting a little old.
I was at a party at Diddy crib in LA. This was the beginning of 2020. You know what I mean? Diddy had put everybody else out the crib, like the influx of people he had put him out. but he had took a liking to me in particular around the time, man. It was really, you know what I mean, like putting his arm around me.
Right.
So he had put majority of the people out, but he allowed me to stay in there. Me and, you know, maybe about 15 others, you know.
Right.
Jay-Z and Beyonce being, you know, 2 of the other 15 people in the room. So that'll just put into perspective of the type of company I was in at the moment, you know. And she came over and introduced herself to me like as if she had to. Beyonce, cut it out. But I'm a big fan of your work, you know what I'm saying? Whoop de whoop, and that was just dope. That was dope as hell to me, man. That was dope. That was.
What he is a broke down Mandingo fighter still working on behalf of the NFL. That's what he is. Period. You want to know what else I also find funny? That he did that interview with the babyyy person who sat there and told him about when he met Beyonce. Y'all remember that? That happened on Shay Shack. And he talked about how he was at the Diddy party at Diddy's house. And how after, you know, the festivities were winding down and it was getting later into the middle of the night, approaching 3 a.m., Diddy got rid of almost everybody, but he let the babyyy stay behind with him and his close friends. And then he talked about how Beyonce was there and Jay-Z was there. Not at their house, at Diddy's house. And how Beyonce presented herself to him. And she didn't have to do that because he knew who she was and he couldn't believe she was talking to him. But she approached him. Kind of like how she approached that old friend of his when he said that he was at the party and the little people was there and she asked him, "Isn't this sexy?"
Damn.
My. How illuminating. There's been a lot of freaking off going on for a long time. Why does everybody keep... Let me tell you this. Beyonce, Giselle Knowles Carter. It does not matter how much money they spend, how many people, those tickets ain't gonna sell. I wish you had the common sense that animals do when they're caught. They just surrender. But no, y'all gonna fight it to the very end. Y'all gonna bring this broke down old NFL bum who apparently will do anything with his genitals to help cover or create validity where there is none with the weirdos. With his little orange purse. Screwing people's kids. Screwing kids young enough to be his grandchildren. Shame on you. You a dirty old man. Period.
And word on the street is Aubrey is now claiming that Beyonce was doing this with Diddy behind Jay-Z's back. Apparently, Jay introduced Beyonce to Diddy, but at some point, they started to do things behind his back. And that's when things got messy. It's unclear if these claims Aubrey are making are true, but baby, it's getting messy out here and it doesn't look like things are gonna slow down anytime soon. As usual, people had their own thoughts, like this person who said, "Don't see how Jay-Z and Beyonce can possibly stay out of Diddy's trial and not end up facing charges for their criminal activities, along with Diddy. But we'll see. A lot of other people around him were also involved as well. Then there's all the many high-profile people who witnessed and participated in disabling unconsenting young women/men and underage girls/boys, praying for these poor, brave victims to finally see justice prevail. Another person said, B is in concert right now, not for the money, but to help put out family positive images of her and her children. That man she married has been jumping himself into all her concerts. Now she has to do it alone. I bet she has the same story as Cassie. But now I want to know your thoughts. What do you think about Beyonce getting exposed by Aubrey? And do y'all believe Aubrey really saw these things go down between Diddy and Beyonce? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and don't forget to click here to watch this other messy video.